When you're standing in the middle of a weekend project and the first thing you reach for is a can of spray paint, you already know whether the compressor you've got is going to be a help or a hassle. That's why I'm taking a step back from the usual hype-filled unboxing and looking at the real, day-to-day value of the Campbell Hausfeld VT6171 20-gallon gas air compressor. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've read through a handful of buyer comments, compared the specs to other units in the same price range, and spent a few hours thinking through the typical jobs you might throw at a portable compressor. What you're about to hear is meant to help you decide if this particular machine will actually fit the way you work, and whether the price tag matches the benefit you'll get. First off, the biggest hesitation most people have with any gas-powered compressor is the balance between power and portability. A 5.5 HP engine sounds plenty strong, but when you pair it with a 20-gallon tank you start to wonder, will it stay light enough to move around the job site, or will it become a stationary monster that only makes sense in a dedicated shop? The VT6171 uses a Honda GX160 engine, which is a well-known workhorse in the world of small engine tools. In practice that means you get reliable startup in temperatures that dip into the 30s, and an engine that runs smoother than many of the cheaper Chinese clones you see on the market. The engine itself weighs about 70 pounds, but the whole unit, tank and all, comes in at roughly 140 pounds. You can roll it on a pair of sturdy wheels, and two people can lift it onto a trailer without too much grunt. If you're a homeowner who needs a compressor for occasional deck staining or a small home workshop, the weight is manageable. If you're looking for a truly backpack-type unit, you'll find it a bit too bulky. What really matters for most users is how the airflow holds up when you start using real tools. The high airflow performance claim translates to a maximum flow of about 5.5 CFM at 90 psi, which is enough to keep a nail gun, a spray gun, and even a small impact wrench running without constantly hitting the trigger switch. I've seen owners describe the feeling of running out of air when they try to sand a large wooden table with a pneumatic sander. This is the scenario where a 20-gallon tank shows its worth. The larger reservoir gives you roughly 3 minutes of continuous operation at full pressure before the motor needs to rebuild. That's a noticeable improvement over the 6-gallon units you'll find for half the price, where you're forced to pause every few seconds to let the pump catch up. Now, let's talk about practicality. The metal cast iron pump is a solid piece that feels like it could survive a drop from a decent height. In real life this matters when you're moving the compressor around a noisy construction site and you accidentally bump it against a concrete wall. The pump doesn't leak, and the internal seals hold up under constant cycling. However, the cast iron construction also means the unit takes longer to cool down after a heavy-duty session. If you're running a job that demands continuous 90 psi output for a full hour, say, inflating multiple large tires or powering a tire inflating system, you'll notice the motor throttling a bit as it protects itself from overheating. That's a trade-off to consider. You get durability, but you lose a little bit of endurance compared to an all-aluminum pump. For the average DIYer, the biggest hidden cost is the fuel and maintenance routine. Since this is a gas unit, you'll need to mix oil with gasoline, or buy pre-mixed fuel, and keep an eye on the spark plug and air filter. I've seen owners who forget to change the oil after the first 20 hours and end up with a sluggish engine. The upside is you're not tethered to an electrical outlet, so you can take the compressor to a remote shed, a backyard, or even a small job site without worrying about extension cords. If you have easy access to power and don't need the mobility, an electric model could save you the hassle of fuel and maintenance. Who should buy this? If you're a homeowner who tackles a variety of projects, painting fences, installing crown molding, or building a small deck, this compressor offers a sweet spot between capacity and maneuverability. The larger tank means you won't be constantly stopping to repressurize, and the Honda engine gives you confidence that the unit will start on a cold morning. It's also a solid choice for small contractors who need a portable but capable machine to take to a client's house, especially when the job calls for both a nail gun and a spray gun. In those cases, the ability to run two tools from the same tank can shave off a lot of setup time. On the flip side, if you're looking for a compressor to run a full size.